Hello, trading has closed on September 8th, 2021. Start with our disclaimer as we always do. This is my trading plan for tomorrow, September 9th, 2021. And all trades should be at your own risk as I can be completely wrong. Look for the pattern with the early low. This is it. I gave a number of reasons why I thought we should have a move right from the open. I gave a number of reasons why I thought could have a straight line move down. But then I said, based on someone else's work, that wasn't going to happen. And his stuff said we would go over this high pretty quickly. And so I wasn't holding anything overnight. Well, apparently the market didn't read this other guy's literature because we did get this straight line drop pretty soon. Tomorrow's pattern should be the one with the early high. We have a number of targets from today's patterns, and the rules say they should all print fairly soon. The drop was called false by the system, gives us a target 45.1731. If this is a major top, I'd like for this not to print because the system almost always leaves a failed target at major changes in trend, but that's one of the calls. The after this drop was said not to stick, and this rally was said not to stick. 95% chance we see 45.06 and change tomorrow, which was called for by the afternoon pattern. So back and forth and back and forth. Of course, if you gap sharply in either direction, the call in the other direction is killed before the open. Let's take another look at the long-term picture. This is the count I've had for almost 2.5 years. I know it's not anyone else's count, but these are the reasons why I like it. And I've been waiting for wave B to end, and wave B can go anywhere. It doesn't look like a wave B on this chart, but it doesn't break any rules. As long as it doesn't break any rules, it remains a valid count. Now, a number of very good technicians are calling this a 5-wave structure. It's not my preferred count, but this is the alternate count if it's a 5-wave structure. You go back to 2009, you have magenta 1, you set at 23.6%. Magenta 3 is 4.236 times wave magenta 1. Wave 4 is a 50% retracement of magenta 3. And magenta 5 equals magenta 3 right here. So if in fact this is a 5-wave structure, if it is, this is a perfectly valid count showing the whole party to be over. I just have trouble calling it a 5-wave structure. I mean, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but is that really a 5-wave structure? Where is the third wave? Is this an impulse? It has to be if it's a 5-wave structure. There might be some way to do it that I can't see, and I'm perfectly willing to admit that. But for now, at least, I'm going to stick with this, which also has a stopping out here based on the count. But again, just because this count works doesn't mean some other count won't. And if this is a top, I'd certainly like a lot more enthusiasm on the downside than we've seen so far. Real big disastrous tops, I would like to see do something other than gapping down and being unable to hold on to the early lows. It's not particularly negative action. Signals are mixed for tomorrow. I just take things a day at a time. Tomorrow's pattern has the early high. We could still gap down. Signals are mixed because we have higher and lower MEJT targets. It's positive. We gap down, hit lower low, close over all the lows. But it's negative. We also rallied all day, closed under the highs. Might be resolved at the open, or we could close a little change. That's an if, we've made a significant high here, we should undercut some prior lows fairly soon and drop with more intensity than we've seen so far. The wave count and the sentiment indicators both make this a good candidate for a top, but for now at least, not a disastrous one. That could still change. I mean, you have the wave count, and even though I've given up on DeMarc's stuff, I mean, it's right there, right at the high. I mean, we had everything we needed for me to see a big drop, and that hasn't happened. And while it hasn't been invalidated, it makes me suspicious that maybe something else is going on. We don't have to risk any money on that interpretation right now. For now, the signals are mixed. We have three targets, 45.17.31, 45.06.28, 45.06.10. If we don't gap smartly, I'd like to see all these print no later than early Friday. Tomorrow has the early high. Usually it's a negative day. If you have strength instead, more strength follows, and that is today's call.